everybody, wonderful to see you all. Today I think I would like to start a new series where I do a little reviews of famous speeches done, not famous speeches, but speeches I'm really proud of that my clients have done in the past that we can glean things from. I can tell you stories about how they started and where they got to, and perhaps it would be interesting to you. I think a lot of, like these public speaking marketing materials are done by already famous people, but not so much not that my clients are always everyday people, some of them very high achieving, but people that you can sort of model yourself after. Okay, if I start from point A, I can get to point B, and then I can have this level of success as a public speaker or a communicator or whatnot. So this is a client of mine that I'm very proud of. His name is Roy Guo. He's a member of the New Federal State of China, which helps overthrow the Chinese Communist Party. They're the anti-communist party in China. So they do a whole bunch of whistleblowing stuff. And he gave a speech at the America Fest, which is a conservative conference for Americans to discuss political ideas and whatnot. But he did a fantastic speech, applause breaks throughout, and then we're just going to go through the speech step by step and see what he did right and what you can emulate.
My name's Roy from the New Federal State of China. We're Chinese, but we are the opposite of the Chinese Communist Party. I have one message to convey. The Chinese Communist Party does not represent China or Chinese people. It is the enemy of Chinese people, American people, and the people of the world. Our story can be traced back to 1989.
Okay, starting off with the intro, loud voice, great projection, great hand gestures, very good for stage speaking. Specifically, he's speaking with the podium, so he's speaking with note cards. But overall, it was fantastic. It was a great start. I'm also going to have a script on the left side so you can follow along with some of the writing. I think we skipped off some of the parts, but I think following the writing will help you just sort of think about the process.
Tiananmen Square. Our founder, Miles Guo, was arrested and jailed for supporting the protesters in Tiananmen Square. Alongside him, there are more than 60 people arrested. Those heroes were killed, executed, right in front of Miles.
Okay, quick little rhetorical device to that. Killed, executed. Those two things mean exactly the same thing, but he does it twice to emphasize the feeling. The other thing I want you to note is how Roy is speaking this section of the speech versus the introduction, right? It wasn't exactly the introduction, but it was he was very bombastic. He was inviting a lot of people to invite him to, pay attention to him. So he projected his voice really loud. He was outward with his hand motions, and now he's talking about something that's more storytelling oriented, pathos oriented. He's not saying his anecdote, but stuff that happened to other people. And in order to do that, he's being very, very calm in his speaking manner, and he's increasing the gap between each individual word, and between each word in a sentence. And that's really important, and you want to oscillate between those two things as far as stage speaking is concerned. When you ever see long speeches, like 20-minute Obama speeches or Martin Luther King speeches, or any really great political speeches, they'll always oscillate between these two vectors. They'll go really, really loud, right, project their voice, a lot of alliteration, a lot of repetition, a lot of rules of three, and then they'll be inviting with some storytelling elements. So it'll be in a political speech, they'll be America's the greatest country in the world, America's the greatest country in the world, America's the greatest country in the world. And then they'll be loud during that section, and then afterwards they'll be inviting, they'll be my grandpa, he came here with $2 in his pocket. They won't talk exactly like that, but you kind of get the point. So if you're ever doing stage speaking, this is something you can note, is you can be very bombastic in the beginning in any situation where you're trying to just repeat something and get the crowd riled up, and then when you're doing storytelling or you're trying to be inviting with some sort of anecdotal references or you're trying to be somber, you can increase the gap between words, sentence by sentence. So good thing to keep in mind.
You can never forget the look in their eyes. It was a silent plea for someone to continue to carry their legacy and bring democracy and freedom to China one day. Miles survived. And many years later, he started a movement called the Whistleblowers Movement, with sole purpose of taking down the CCP. He started to reveal all the intelligence on the CCP, the heinous plans of the CCP. Of course, as a result, he became the most targeted and persecuted Chinese dissident, but he never stopped fighting. Chinese people are the biggest victims of the Chinese Communist Party. As we speak, millions of Uyghurs are jailed in concentration camps. Tibetans and youths are victims of pedophilia and organ harvesting. Hong Kong protesters or any other people who dare to speak against the regime will be disappeared, silenced, and executed. As we
Okay, quick rule of three there with those three minority groups that he listed. So he did minority group number 1, Uyghurs, minority group number 2, Hong Kong. I think third minority group I'm forgetting. That's another technique you can use in your speeches, is just organize your facts by 1, 2, and 3. Quick and easy.
As we speak, over 400 million forced abortions were executed since the CCP adopted one-child policy. The Chinese people never had a chance to vote for their government. They never had the right to own land. They never had freedom of speech, freedom of religion, or rule of law. They became more than slaves of the CCP kleptocrats. But I'm here more than just sharing our own stories. I'm here to prevent our stories becoming American stories. The CCP has already infiltrated almost every aspect of the US life. It has launched an unrestricted warfare against all of us. It unleashed a deadly virus that killed millions.
One thing I want to know, hopefully Roy isn't offended if he ever sees this, but there were a couple of mispronunciations there, right? Or not exactly mispronunciations, but things that are said in not a standard American accent. And you want to note this because I have a lot of clients who come for me for accent reduction. I never do accent reduction training, but it's not necessary because he's not hung up on it and people understand what he's saying. And he's literally talking to an American, like middle American, I don't know exactly where this is held, but this is a conservative audience and they're applauding for him, right? And sometimes he's speaking with a Chinese accent. I don't know exactly where he's from. Could be, okay, he's speaking with an accent, right? Nonetheless, and they don't care. And that's something to keep in mind, is because the more confidence you speak, and as long as they understand where the message you're communicating, there's no need to be insecure about your accent. Very important to note when you're doing public speaking. I cannot stress this enough. Your accent does not matter. As long as they're understanding what you're saying, it doesn't matter. There are plenty of very successful CEOs, politicians, everything that just speak with much heavier accents than Roy, and they speak with absolute confidence. Confidence is key. You want to have confidence in the content. That's what matters. Anyway, so a quick little tirade.
Of innocent lives. Its fentanyl export is killing 300 American people per day. It spread the spy balloon above us, and its spying operations are almost everywhere. In media companies, in big tech, scientific institutions, universities, Hollywood, and Wall Street. It's behind wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. It formed a new axis of evil alliance with Russia, North Korea, and Iran. Your pension funds, your educational funds, your savings are being invested in Communist China right now. And the total number is a whopping $7 trillion. And Xi Jinping is more than ready to confiscate that money and give that to the terrorist groups and fan the flames of conflicts and seize the perfect opportunity to invade Taiwan. For the past 8 years, Miles and the whistleblowers from the NFSC have exposed the truth around Hong Kong crisis, HNA group, COVID, and COVID vaccines, and many more. Those warnings were not taken seriously enough. Every time we revealed this kind of information, I had hoped we were wrong, because if the information is wrong, a lot of people wouldn't have to die or suffer. But in the long run, it has always been proven, verified as true. And today, for the first time ever, I have 3 specific pieces of exclusive intelligence to share with you. And I urge you to listen very carefully to what I have to say and verify for yourselves through time. Number 1, you may have already heard the secret biolab in California. Actually, the CCP has already finished building 11 P3 biolabs in the Middle East, Africa, and South America. They have the capability to manufacture and unleash new viruses at Xi Jinping's command. That's the same kind of virus that already killed 6.5 million people. Number 2, CCP's military installations. The CCP has already deployed 3,500 ballistic missiles, the DF-10A series, in 3 countries in the Middle East, worth a total of $50 billion. There are 2,000 more currently in transaction and will be delivered to those regions. They even have production lines for those missiles in those areas. Additionally, the CCP has built no fewer than 20 nuclear ICBMs. They deployed DF-41 series with nuclear warheads. They can reach the mainland US or any other country. Number 3, the Chinese Communist Party is behind the terrorist group in the Middle East. In Iran and Syria, the CCP has already built an army of 20,000 mercenaries ready for combat and to join Hamas. And each individual will be paid $10,000 per month by the CCP. And there are another 20,000 mercenaries ready to be deployed in the event of escalation between Israel and Hamas. The intelligence I just shared with you is brought by NFSC thanks to the courageous whistleblowers inside China that risked their lives to bring those messages. And we invite you to witness the validity of the information through time. In the past, we have provided many similar pieces of intelligence to authorities. The information should have been disclosed by the US government, but due to CCP's infiltration, it failed. So we now have to come out and speak out. As our revelations continue to be verified, we now hope American people can join us in eliminating the Chinese Communist Party. And we're not asking you to give us money or arms.
Pay attention to his hand gestures in that section. We're not asking you. Repetition, right? But open, right? If he was doing close fists in this section, it would actually dissuade him from doing so. But the openness, but also the command in which he's moving his hands is something you should take notice of. He's also coordinating his hands with his vocal tonality, so it's like, we're not asking you. It's almost like he's drumming to the words. That's also a good mechanism when you're adding a repertoire for your hand gestures. Whenever you're about to emphasize a section of the speech and you're doing a prelude, like, we're not asking you, you can always, we're not asking you. Great thing. Obama does that as well. You know, he does that. I think he does this type of hand gesture, but it's a good thing to do.
Or arms, or die for revolution or wars. All America needs to do is very simple. Stop supporting the Chinese Communist Party. And decouple from the Chinese Communist Party technologically and financially. And leave the rest to the new Federal State of China. And we ensure you the elimination of the Chinese Communist Party in China. Today, hundreds of millions of people have joined our causes. The majority of them are working covertly in the party in China and supporting us. We have 21 chapters around the globe, and we are more united and determined than ever. And I truly believe soon enough, we'll stand atop the Beijing Pangu Plaza again and put Xi Jinping, the dictator, on a Nuremberg trial for his crimes and make it the devil's last night. That night, we will see the end of the evil communist regime. That night, we will reunite with our loved ones. And that night, for the very first time in history of that soil, we will see a free China, a new China, the new Federal State of China. Thank you.
Okay, that was fantastic all the way. Congratulations to Roy. Fantastic performance in America Fest. I'm sure he's doing well, but the ending section, right, he had a lot of imagery about Pangu Plaza, a metaphor for the devil's last night when he's talking about overthrowing this dictatorial communist force, and something that's something you should pay attention to. I think that's a good thing overall. Great performance by Roy, great delivery of the ending as well. It was a callback to the introduction. I'm going to have a script on the left side. Maybe I'll do like another iteration of this analysis just for writing and combine those two. But overall, I think the core messaging is you don't really need to do that much accent reduction if you want to have really successful stage speaking. You just have to have a lot of confidence in your content and your delivery, and that's just earned through practice. It's earned through going to your local Toastmasters or practicing a lot in front of people, and then scaling up as you go along. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and then I'll do another. I'll keep doing this consistently, so I can build a content library and I can get more clients, and I can build more businesses. Peace.